Hello everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm Rachel here with Makers Gonna Learn, the ultimate die cutting community, and today we will be making a super fun Christmas project. This one is gonna be the sign that says Santa stop here please, that you guys can put in your yard or on your front porch and just bring that holiday spirit and let Santa know that he better stop by your house on Christmas night. Guys, if you do not know who we are or what we do, we run an amazing die cutting community, so if you guys have a die cutting machine, you will definitely benefit from our membership. Makers Gonna Learn has thousands of cut files, hundreds of fonts, amazing printable guides, incredible resources for Cricut beginners, and much more. We do offer free commercial licensing in our yearly membership and just a lot of great stuff. So if you want to check those out, click the very first link in the description below. Moving right along, guys, we're going to jump into supplies for today's project. There's a lot on the table, so don't get overwhelmed. We're going to go one by one, and while there is some wood cutting in this, I do urge you, if you're not too comfortable with it, get your husband, dad, uncle, your best friend who might be a little more comfortable using some power tools, and they can help you through those types of steps. But these are super easy cuts, all little straight cuts, and you guys won't have any problems with them at all. The first thing you're going to want to get is a 4x4. So this is a 4x4 post that we picked up at Lowe's. You can get it at Home Depot, any kind of home improvement store like that. And they actually come 8 feet tall. And guys, it was so crazy. I went to go pick it up in my little car and they can't cut it there. They tried to tell me that they couldn't cut it. It wouldn't fit in their saw, which they were probably just not wanting to deal with me that day for some reason. I don't know why. So I had to make poor Courtney in her larger vehicle go and get it for me later on because it wouldn't fit in my car. So we get it back here to the studio and we have a little miter saw, a Ryobi circular miter saw, and it cut it like butter so quick. Didn't have to flip it around and do half and half. It cut it perfectly, and I'm like, come on Lowe's, I know you can cut it. But just PSA, that might happen to you, so make sure you take a truck or a larger vehicle to be able to fit it in, because it is 8 feet tall, and you actually need to cut it in half, perfectly in half at 4 feet. So you can actually make 2 of these with one 4x4, which is awesome. So we have our 4x4 cut at 48 inches or 4 feet. And also we had a sander and we did sand it. We sanded all the wood you're going to see today. So if you have any questions about that, we did sand everything. And the next supply you're going to need is some plywood. So this is 1/8 inch plywood, and it's actually really nice quality. I did not skip on the quality on this. I did get a pretty high quality plywood that they had there at Lowe's for me. And it wasn't a big, large piece. It wasn't too big to fit in my car, so I bought it and was able to take it home with me that day. And I just went to a Cricut Design Space and had an octagon, which is, of course, the shape of a stop sign. And I cut it at 11.5 inches, which is like, fits perfectly on a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, paper, craft board, anything like that. And I traced it on the wood and cut it out. So you will want to do that as well. And again, I did sand that. I sanded the edges and all that good stuff. Next, you're going to need a wood plaque. This one I got at Hobby Lobby, and let me measure it. This plaque from the top of the base is 10.5 by 8.25, and then on the back, so the widest part of the base, it is 11.5 by 8.5. So that's just a plaque I picked up at Hobby Lobby. They actually didn't have any large squares. I did want a perfectly square one, but they didn't have any. So we got this rectangle, and it actually looks fine. So we have that. And then Becca and Courtney found these. I don't know what they're called. I'm not a big woodworker. These could be like legs of furniture or on the top of fence posts or things like that. You guys probably know what they are in the comments. So we found one of these. I think it's very local shop, like an Oaks Rail salvage place, so kind of like a woodworking place. You could probably even find these at Home Depot and, your local shop like that. So we have one of these, just kind of a decorative piece to go on top of our post there. Let's see, so we are going to be ironing on wood today. So we have our HTV white and an EasyPress mini here. We have some gloves, a staining rag, and some wood stain. This is espresso, so this is Minwax espresso. It's a lot like Jacobean, if you guys know that we love Jacobean stain. It's a lot like that, pretty dark, really beautiful. We have our Cricut mat, and like I said, we have some Kraft board here. You'll also need a Sharpie to trace that on your wood with. We have some white paint. We're just using Folk Art multi-surface. Any white paint will be totally fine. We have a paintbrush and a little plate for that. We have our Ryobi Airstrike nail gun. This is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful cordless nail gun. You can use the batteries from basically all the Ryobi tools with this, and it uses a ton of different sizes of nails. These will run you about $200, but let me tell you guys, worth it. If you make just a couple of projects with it, it's 100% worth it. So we absolutely love our nail gun. That's what we will be using to attach the post to the base of our sign today. We also have several poster boards. Yours probably look a little cleaner than ours. These have been through the ringer, but that's fine. We're going to lay them all over our work surface to be able to stain the post and all of our wood pieces today, along with painting what we do not stain. We have E6000. This is what we are going to adhere the top of the post to the post, and that's what we're going to adhere the sign to the post with. So you guys can use whatever you want to. If you want to use wood glue, if you want to use screws, if you want to use this nail gun, whatever you want to do, go for it. We're just going to use some E6000 today. Also, again, we're going to be using iron-on. If you want to seal this, I know we're going to get questions. If you want to seal this, you guys use Minwax polyacrylic. Use the water-based sealer. Any finish you want, satin, gloss, matte, anything that you want will totally work. So yeah, other than that, you're going to need a circular saw or a miter saw or a hand saw, something like that for you guys to be able to make all these cuts. And again, they're super easy straight line cuts. I'm kind of scared of saws, and I could do this. So if I can do this, you guys can do this for sure. So I think that that's all the supplies that we need today. If I need to add anything in, I will. This is one of those more complex projects. But I do want to mention I'm not using traditional Christmas colors today. This is going to be more neutral, more for a home that's, you know, not so whimsical. Feel free to use red and green and white and candy stripe the pole and do a bunch of fun stuff. Make the top of it gold. Do whatever you guys want to get yourself in the Christmas spirit. But us today, we're keeping it simple. We're doing white and some stain today and white HTV. It's going to be beautiful and simple, and really these colors will go great in any home. Without further ado, we'll hop on over and I'll show you guys all these cuts that we're going to make, and then we're going to jump into painting and staining. Okay, so here we are in Design Space, and I want to show you how I got this breakdown. So the very first thing that I did, guys, is went over here to Shapes, and I got a square, just like that, and I unlocked our square up here. Well, we know this is a 4x4, so we're going to make it 4 inches wide, and this is 48 inches high, but really just for visualization, you can just do like 20 or something like that. It doesn't have to be exactly as long as it, you know, as the pole is, just because in Design Space, it can get a little laggy if what you're using is a little bit too large. So now what we're going to do once we have that is go get us another shape. We're going to get an octagon, a little stop sign shape here, and we're going to make this 11.5. So now that we have our octagon, the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and duplicate that and duplicate that once more. So we want to have 3 total octagons. So here is one of them. And to differentiate, we're actually going to go ahead and make that brown along with our post. We'll make our post brown as well. So now both of those match. We can set them over there. And one of the other 2 octagons, we're going to make a different color. It doesn't matter what color. So now we're going to make this one like a pretty lilac. And all we're going to do is make this a bit smaller. Size that down. And then bring that in. And that looks pretty nice. We're trying to create this border for us. So I like this border. So now you're going to take both of those, and you can see on the layers panel, both are selected. We can go to align and align center. And once you do that, guys, this is really important. We're going to make that pretty border. So we're going to go ahead and click slice. So once we've sliced them, we don't need that part. And we don't need that part. And here is our border that we want white. So we can go ahead and change that to white. And this is what it's going to go on right here. So now we can take both of these, align center, and group. So now this is kind of the base of our sign here. It looks really nice. So let's go ahead and bring in that SVG that we're using. So here is the one we're using. It says, Santa, please stop here. And as you can see, it's kind of like the SVG is a stencil. So you can cut this out with the octagon shape, but I didn't want to do that today. I wanted to make my wood the octagon shape and just have the words. So you might be thinking in your head of different ways how you could get, kind of reverse this, how you can get the words instead of this kind of stenciled outline of the octagon. And let me show you the easiest thing to do, guys. Are you ready for this? With your SVG selected, go on down to contour on the bottom right hand corner of your screen, and you're going to click contour. And you see how it kind of goes a little darker when I click on the octagon. Go ahead and click that. And once you've clicked that, click off. And that is it, guys. Look how easy that was. Seriously, so simple. So now you can just size this down. We want this to be white, so we're gonna make it white and bring it on in here. And if that ever happens, you guys know the drill. Click arrange and send to front. And look how nice this looks. It's so nice. So now we're gonna take all of those together. You can see in the layers panel, everything is selected. And we're going to go to align and align center and then group again. And now holding down your shift key, you're going to want to click on the Santa please stop here and your slice result border. You can see that both of those are selected in the layers panel. And now you're going to go down to the bottom and click attach. And that is because you want these to cut together. So that's what we did for that. So now those will cut together, and we can take both of these again, just how we had it before we ungrouped them, center them up, and you can group them again. And now that is our sign. It looks great. It's going to go a couple of inches below the top of our post here and look just like that. So now, guys, at this point, this is just for visual representation, so we don't need that. And this one actually is one we just created for you guys right now. This one we will go ahead and ungroup here, and this is going to be our sign. So this will cut separately, and this will go ahead and ungroup, and then that will cut and be our stencil, and then we don't need that as our post. We just needed to visualize that. So this here is 11.5 inches, and this is what you're going to use to cut out your craft board or your cardstock or what have you in order to trace this octagon onto your plywood. So you're going to cut that out, and then this is going to be cut out of HTV. So we're going to go ahead and click make it. And because this is going to be iron on, you want to mirror that. And this one is just going to be cut out of cardstock. So we're just going to leave that. We're going to click continue. And we're going to go ahead and cut this one first, just because when we do this, we'll be able to go through there and trace our wood and be cutting that wood and staining it as our HTV is cutting. So we're going to go ahead and set the dial on our Cricut Air 2 to custom. I'm not really a dial setter. I like to click it on custom and set the materials myself. So now we're going to go ahead and click craft board. So we're going to go up here and get craft board, and I'm going to give it more pressure, and we'll go ahead and cut that out. So load your craft board onto your green StandardGrip mat and allow the Cricut to go ahead and cut that out. And once the Cricut has cut out your octagon, go ahead and click up here, and now you can switch these material settings to everyday iron on with default pressure, and mirror is turned on, so you can go ahead and let that cut as well. And once you have it loaded in, you can go ahead and press that flashing Cricut button. Okay, everyone, that cut out really, really well, but I'm going to go ahead and set this to the side before I even weed it, because more importantly is all of the painting and staining that we have to do. So we're going to set this to the side and start all this process. So we have this here. This is going to be painted white. This plaque is also going to be painted white. And then we have all of our octagons. I say all of our, we only need one, guys. So here is our craft board once it cut out, so nice. And again, we took our Sharpie and laid it on our plywood, just traced it around, removed it, and cut it. That's all we did. And we also stained it, so don't forget, or sanded it, excuse me, we're about to stain it. We sanded the edges and everything like that to make them all nice and smooth. So this is gonna be stained, and our post is going to be stained. So we're gonna go through the process of painting and staining all of these wood pieces for us. The reason why we're doing these first and foremost is because they take a while to dry. And since we are ironing on this, you do not want to have a fresh stain on something that you're going to be ironing on. So you want to have this able to set and dry for quite a long time. Overnight is honestly preferred, but several hours, maybe a couple of passes with the heat gun, and you can really heat set that to look really nice. And some of you might say, well, if it's all that trouble, why are you going to iron on it? Well, guys, the reason why we love iron on wood is because since we have a border and since the shape is so complicated, we really love the fact that you can reposition iron on however many times you need to before you go ahead and heat it with your EasyPress. If we had laid this down with vinyl and it was kind of hanging off one side, the border was, or it wasn't centered up, we would never be able to peel that up and reapply it. So when you iron on wood, you have that freedom. So that's what we really like about it. So we're actually going to stain first. So I'm going to place all this away, and we're going to be staining our post first. So I'm going to bring my post in here, and here is again the stain that we're going to be using is Minwax Espresso. So we're going to open it up, and we have ourselves a staining cloth here. I love to use staining cloths. I'm just gonna, it's kind of large, so I'm just gonna fold it in half and fold it several times. You can cut these in half if you don't want to use such a large piece, but since this post is just large in itself, we're gonna go ahead and use this large piece. Now don't forget again, guys, we did sand this, so you might wanna sand yours if you haven't already. And we're just gonna stain this. After I am done with the side, I'll use the bottom of my staining rag and wipe it off. Wipe all that excess off, and you can see all that comes off, and now it'll dry way quicker as well. So we're just going to keep repeating this process. All right, now that we have our post and our octagon stained, we have it stained all sides and all edges, just like the post. We're going to set these aside and then grab everything we need to paint. All right, so now we have our plaque and our little post topper here, and we're just gonna paint these. So I'm gonna take some paint and paint it. Now, you guys can be picky with this if you want to. White paint tends to go on things like this light wood really well. So we might not even need to do 2 coats of this. We might just be able to get away with 1 heavy coat, but feel free to give this several coats of paint, or you guys can even use like a stain and whitewash this if you want to whitewash it. Whatever you want to do is totally fine. And now we'll pour out a little bit more paint for our post topper here and paint this guy. You're going to want to let all of these dry for a good long time, several hours before you mess with them and put them together. And then after that, you will have a gorgeous piece of Christmas decor for your yard or your front porch that is just absolutely gorgeous and completely DIY. So you guys will really enjoy the way that this turns out. So stay tuned for that. All we're going to do, guys, is finish painting this post topper, let it set to dry, and we will see you guys in a couple of hours. Okay, so now guys, we have all of our painting done, all of our staining done, and they've all had several hours to dry and to make sure that they are good to go for continuing what we are doing. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna set the top piece and our stop sign shape to the side, and we're going to take our post and our plaque here, and we're actually going to go ahead and secure these together. So guys, I could not find an angle to show this to you, so I'm sorry, but the post is right here and our plaque is right here. It is centered. We centered it up, and all I did was basically I bent down and looked up and just made sure it was in the center. And now we're going to take our nail gun and just press some nails in there. Once that first one is in, it's a lot easier. You can kind of hold the post instead, and you're just going to keep looking down to make sure that you can go all around this post. And now your post should be nice and secure onto your plaque just like this one is. Guys, now we have our base all put together. It looks amazing. Let me stand it up. Look how nice this looks. So this is our base, and it's going straight up basically to right there, you guys at the camera. And now we're going to go ahead and set him to the side. And now we need to be working with our octagon here. We're going to take our HTV and we're going to weed it. And we're also going to go ahead and heat up our EasyPress to the very first temperature setting. And we'll go ahead and weed out our iron-on. And you guys know me, I always just like to start in a corner first. And I will peel this up just like so. I always like to start on the outside edges personally. Now I'll move on to the inside. So now you know we want the letters on the inside, so I'm just going to take this and just start weeding. So this is not, we're not using this cut file, kind of how it was meant to, which is kind of like a stencil. We are, since we made that cute little border, we're actually going to be using the letters in this. And our EasyPress just preheated for us, which is fantastic. So now all we'll do is continue to weed this out. We'll get in all those little spaces inside the letters here. We'll start line by line so we don't get confused. Just like that. Whenever I go sporadically, guys, I almost always miss a letter, so that kind of helps me not. So once it's weeded, you can go ahead and peel it up off of the mat. And now we're going to bring in our octagon, and we're just going to take some time here, guys, and really make sure we line this up how we want it. And I'm pretty happy with the placement, guys. So now we're just going to pick this up and lay it on an EasyPress mat that we have here. And we're going to start the slow process of ironing this on. I do want to go ahead and give a PSA. Where these edges are, it might not want to adhere down too well at first. So you will have to give those edges a lot more TLC than the other parts that you will have to do. So do take that into account. You can also go in with scissors and trim them before you even press them on, but I think we're going to try and work with what we have in regards to that. So we're just going to slowly start in the center and EasyPress out. So I have my EasyPress here. Just going to start in the center and move my way out. I'll work on the border last because it will most likely be the most difficult to stay down, but I really do like the look of it and I did not want to go without it. So I think it will be worth the hassle, guys. Anytime you have HTV on the edge of something like this, you're kind of taking a gamble and it might or might not work out too well. So I took the gamble here and I really hope that it pays off for me, and I really think it will. So I'm just going to continue to do this, guys. Just be super patient as I work from the center out. And yeah, I'll meet you back here in a few minutes when I'm working on my border, and hopefully it's not giving me too much trouble. I do again want to mention the importance of making sure that you sand your wood before you want to stain it and apply heat transfer vinyl on it. If there's ever a project you want to apply heat transfer vinyl to, you want to always make sure that that piece of wood, if you're using wood, is very, very nice and smooth. So guys, I'm just working on my edges. What I like to do is this kind of motion. I'll start in the center and kind of push my way out for those edges. Sometimes the transfer tape that's built into this HTV wants to curl up with the heat, so I don't want there to be any awkward spots on those edges. So I do try and work those out as I see them. But for the most part, this is adhering fairly well. So we're just going to continue to give the edges some TLC. And on places that the HTV might be going over, you can actually kind of curve the EasyPress down to go with those edges. So do think about that. If you want to, you totally can, and just work with this as much as you can. Now, if you guys are interested in an in-depth tutorial about how to iron on wood, we can give that to you. I will add that in the description below for you all, and that is a really great training video. If you do not use HTV on wood, it's a great product to use. Okay guys, I got this all adhered down and I removed the transfer tape. Sometimes what happens is when I'm removing the transfer tape, if I get to here and everything looks great, I will cut it off. That way it doesn't re-adhere down. It just kind of keeps the paste a little bit cleaner. And then sometimes also guys, after I'm done removing all the transfer tape, there could every now and again be a little piece of a letter that doesn't want to stay down. That is a great reason to go grab your Teflon sheet and lay your Teflon sheet over it, and to be able to just go in here with your Teflon sheet over your design and be able to just kind of reheat it all down without any of that transfer tape in the way. So once you're done with that guys, your amazing, beautiful sign is done, and now we just have to attach it all together. Okay guys, now all we have to do is attach our stop sign right here and our top just like this. So I'm going to be using E6000 to do both of these. So I'm just going to start with the sign here and I'm going to line it up and add some E6000 all along the back of the sign, right where I'm going to apply it, and just apply it down. You have a little bit of give with that E6000, so you can really make sure it's where you want it. And now once that is adhered, you're just going to do the same thing with the top of your post. Since I want to line it up properly, I'm not going to be able to do it on camera for you guys, but that's all that we're going to do next is just take some more E6000 and place it right on the top in the center. Well guys, I hope that you enjoyed this adorable Christmas project. As you can see here, it turned out great. And let me hold it up so you can see the base. See how cute it is, guys? I wish I could fit it all in frame, but it is just so adorable. I cannot wait to see your all's versions of it and how you make them your own and you put your original spin on them. I love that this one can match all types of houses and neutral houses, just like the one we made this for. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, give this video a thumbs up. Leave us a comment down below if you have any questions. Don't forget to click the very first link in the description to see how you can become a member of Makers Gonna Learn and join our amazing die cutting community. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Happy holidays, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys.